"Ma'am, first-class service is for paying passengers," the flight attendant said, her voice sharp enough to cut the silence. The black woman looked up slowly, calm but unyielding as nearby travelers glanced over their screens. Every eye waited for her reaction, but she gave none. She simply reached for her notebook, jotting something down while the attendant smirked and walked away. No one knew that the woman she'd just disrespected didn't need an upgrade. She owned the airline. And before the plane landed, one arrogant employee would discover that power doesn't shout. It simply signs the termination notice. The engines hummed beneath the cabin as the flight boarded for New York. In first class, luxury was routine, except for seat 4C, where calm silence met arrogance head-on. "Excuse me," said the flight attendant, leaning across the aisle. "This section's reserved for premium passengers. Coach is down that way." The woman in the seat looked up, unbothered. "I'm in the right place." The attendant's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Then you must be lost on paper, too. Ticket, please." Without a word, the woman handed it over. The attendant scanned it, frowned, then forced a laugh. Guess the system makes mistakes sometimes." No apology. Just contempt masked as procedure. The woman, Dr. Nyla Hart, nodded lightly. "Mistakes can be expensive." The attendant, Megan Rhodes, didn't catch the warning. "Would you like water?" she asked flatly. "Yes, please." Megan poured it halfway, then handed the cup carelessly, spilling a few drops. "There you go." Nyla accepted it without reaction, opened her tablet, and began typing. Megan rolled her eyes and turned to serve the next passenger. "Some people just can't handle flying first class," she whispered to her colleague, loud enough for two others to hear. By mid-flight, whispers spread. A businessman leaned across the aisle. "You must be new to flying like this." Nyla smiled politely. "You could say that?" Megan overheard and grinned. "Don't worry, sir. We'll make sure she survives the luxury." The cabin chuckled. Nyla's gaze didn't waver. Her quiet unnerved them. She made a few more notes on her tablet, then closed it. When Megan returned with the meal tray, Nyla asked softly, "Could I have sparkling water, please?" Megan smirked. "Sparkling's for our executive flyers. Still water's complimentary." "Interesting," Nyla said, "because policy says all beverages in first class are included." Megan shrugged. "Policy changes. I work here. I'd know." Nyla smiled faintly. "Not for long." Megan frowned. "Excuse me?" "Nothing," Nyla said. "Please continue your duties." For the rest of the flight, tension pulsed through the cabin. Every passenger felt it but didn't dare intervene. When the captain announced descent, Megan leaned in one last time. "Next time, maybe buy a ticket that matches the seat." Nyla looked up. "And next time, maybe treat people like your paycheck depends on it." Megan scoffed. "Whatever." Minutes later, the plane touched down. Passengers began gathering their things. Megan straightened her jacket, already rehearsing her post-flight gossip. Then came the announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen," the intercom crackled, "corporate representatives will be boarding before passengers disembark. Please remain seated." A murmur rolled through the cabin. Megan blinked. "Corporate? Here?" The doors opened. 3 executives in tailored suits stepped in, scanning the room until their eyes landed on seat 4C. "Dr. Hart," the lead executive said respectfully, "we're ready when you are." Megan froze. "Dr. Hart?" Nyla stood calm as ever. "Thank you, Daniel." The executive turned to the cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Dr. Nyla Hart, our new Chief Executive Officer of Apex Airlines." The silence was total. Every passenger stared. Megan's jaw fell open. "CEO?" she whispered. Nyla faced her. "You seemed confident earlier about knowing company policy. Would you like to quote it again?" Megan's face drained of color. I didn't realize. That's the point," Nyla said softly. "You didn't care to realize." She turned to the passengers. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the incident you witnessed. It will be addressed immediately." Her tone carried authority that didn't need volume. Turning back to Megan, Nyla continued. "Your actions reflect not only arrogance but also bias. I recorded the entire exchange, for documentation, not revenge. You'll receive notice of your formal review?" Megan stammered. "Dr. Hart, please." "Don't plead," Nyla said gently. Learn. The executives exchanged glances. Security is waiting at the terminal, one said quietly. As Nyla stepped into the aisle, passengers began clapping, quietly at first, then louder, until the applause filled the cabin. Nyla paused by the businessman who'd mocked her earlier. "First time flying?" she asked softly. He lowered his head. "First time learning? Good," she said. "Keep that altitude." Outside the plane, the airline's media team waited. Cameras rolled as the CEO they hadn't expected appeared, briefcase in hand, composed as ever. Reporters shouted questions, but Nyla's answer was measured. Today wasn't about embarrassment. It was about exposure. Respect is not a service, it's a standard. And from this day forward, Apex Airlines will enforce it. The video spread globally within hours. Millions watched the clip of the arrogant flight attendant shrinking beside the woman she had dismissed. By evening, Apex Airlines released an official statement. Effective immediately, all frontline staff will undergo the Hart Protocol. Humanity, accountability, respect, and training, created by our CEO, Dr. Nyla Hart. Megan's name was never mentioned publicly, but internally her employment ended that same night. 3 months later, at the company's headquarters, new recruits gathered for their first orientation. Nyla stood before them, calm as ever. "Let me tell you a story," she began. A flight attendant once told a passenger she didn't belong in first class. She was right about one thing. First class isn't about where you sit. It's about how you treat people who can't defend themselves. The room was silent. "This company won't be perfect," she continued, "but we will be accountable. Because the sky doesn't care about your title. It only reflects your attitude." Applause erupted. Later that day, as Nyla walked through the terminal, a cleaning staff member stopped her. "Dr. Hart," he said shyly, "I saw that video. You made us proud." She smiled. "No, we made us proud. Every time we choose respect over ego, we win." That night, as the sun set beyond the runway, another Apex flight soared into the clouds. The world didn't see her on board, but her influence flew with every takeoff, every crew, every passenger treated with the dignity they deserved. Because power, when held by the right hands, doesn't roar, it restores. If you believe real power doesn't shout, it restores, stand with us. Like this video, share it everywhere, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what moment hit you hardest. Subscribe now and turn on notifications for more stories where arrogance falls and dignity takes the captain's seat.